Okay, everyone, we're right back here with the process. We're talking with Mike Brown, uh, CEO of Reality Based Training and former Prince George's County police officer. This is part two of this interview with the process. And when we left off part one, Mike, you were telling us about how your experience with discrimination has affected your welfare, and we had gotten into how Prince George's County actually charged you with something that DC police made a decision to say, well, we're not going to charge him anymore, although you were arrested for something. So how about we just go, pick up from there, talk a little bit more about that experience with going through I guess it was a trial board or something you had to go through with Prince George's County Police. Yep. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
All right. So, the trial board is consisted of two officials from the Prince George's County Police Department, lieutenant or above, usually a major or a captain, and a person of equal rank. And they had those three people on the board to sit there, and that's the person that runs it, the major. That's their permanent position as the person that directs all trial boards.
Right.
Yep. And the unfortunate piece is in Prince George's County, that person works directly for the AG, which is the Attorney General for the Prince George's County Police Department, which is a conflict of interest.
Wow.
Which is the right hand to the chief. So.
And these are the people that are actually making the decisions.
That's right.
On the livelihood of Prince George's County police officers regarding who stays, who goes, who's suspended, if there's no action founded, and things of that nature. When there are any acts that they deem acts of impropriety occur on the force.
That's right.
And wow. And so there's no parity, should I say, of bias. Would I say bias, or maybe there's no unbiased
right.
in this piece because they work directly for the chief.
Right.
And at the time of your event, the chief was Chief Hank Stawinski.
No, it was Mark McGall.
Mark McGall was the chief at the time. When did this event take place?
July 10th, 2014.
2014.
Yep.
Man, so we're like beyond 6 years from that day. And so Mark McGall was the chief.
That's right.
And where was Heinz Stawinski in that?
He was the deputy chief. He was the number 2 at that time.
Okay.
Actually, take that back. He was the number 3 because Greg Howard was the number 2. And Stawinski was the number 3.
And so essentially this trial board ruled unfavorably for you, and they voted to ultimately do what? Terminate you? And the basis of their termination was?
Based off of the fact that they felt I would use my weapon to intimidate. That's even after DC police dropped all the charges and everything. No victim, no witness, no nothing. Just
So let me understand this, because I get, when I start hearing things, in this current environment that we're in, typically when an officer draws their service revolver, we're thinking the worst to happen. We're literally thinking that someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to get shot or killed.
Right.
And people are saying police shouldn't shoot. Well, your event that occurred on, you say July the 10th of 2014, you actually drew your service revolver in an attempt to de-escalate a matter and to protect the environment that you were in. Correct. Because they were coming at you. And you didn't fire. Although the people had posed, as you said, and were throwing signs at you and things of that nature. So you exercised some level of restraint. And I don't know, but I can kind of attribute that restraint to all of the departments that you had worked for. You start talking about working for SWAT teams or not. I don't know if it's SWAT or tactical teams, whatever it is. You've been intricately involved in knowing how to decompensate or de-escalate a lot of issues. How did they come to that conclusion when there's no loss of life in this issue?
Well, again, it goes back to the way the powers to be, what they want, how they want it to happen. They're going to make it happen. For me, no one on the trial board had the skill set or level or knowledge of tactical operations that I even had. So
Wow.
for them to even have, the equal rank officer, for me having 15 years on, the equal rank officer had 5 years on.
Yeah.
Haven't even seen what I've seen. Haven't been through the schools I've been through. Don't know my skill set.
Yeah.
So yet he's making a determination on my judgment. And again, this is a fluent situation where they're taking a frame by frame look at. What they don't understand is the fact that this is not, you can't look at this 20/20 hindsight. You have to look at this as a flowing situation where it's constantly moving. And they took it as frame by frame. Okay, look at this frame. He is now turning to the right. Okay, look at this frame here. He is now turning back to the left.
So they were actually black and white, book savvy, nothing fluid,
Exactly.
nothing practical. It was all theory in their mindset.
Yes.
Wow, that's a very interesting. I can only imagine. So at this trial board, I'm assuming that you had witnesses or people that your team could present.
Absolutely.
And what type of witnesses did you have in terms of their professional rank?
So I had the person that actually wrote the general orders for the Prince George's County Police Department.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So
And that person testified on your behalf.
On my behalf, said that I could have used more force, and the force that I used, was perfect. He said that I could have used more force in the situation that we have. You're talking about 7 people assaulting one person. And here's the unfortunate part. And I had to put this out there to the trial board. And imagine that was your father, your sister, your mother, your cousin, uncle, daughter.
We would have definitely wanted you
a
to be
police
there,
officer
someone to be
intervene
there.
with someone jumping, 7 people jumping one person.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's a damn if you don't. Then they found out if I don't do anything. I found out I'm a police officer and he got hurt and I didn't take any action.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah.
So it's the same catch-22.
Yeah. So it's almost like that defund the police thing that they got going there. It's like I say, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
That's
So
right.
yeah, I can get that. Now let me ask this, because there was a lot of push. The former chief of Prince George's County Police, Heinz Stawinski, who took over after Mark McGaul.
Correct.
Heinz Stawinski abruptly retired, and from what I was able resigned. What I was able to read up on was it appears as though he resigned after the Department of Justice opened up their pretty much their case or whatever they were doing, their complaint or their discrimination suit.
Well, that already been there. It's been in effect since 2016.
Okay.
Right. Take that back, 2017. And that's already been there. Department of Justice is the type of agency. They're very quiet. They're discreet.
Mm-hmm.
They do a hell of a background. But that was one of the issues. The biggest thing was we had also ACLU, Washington Lawyers Committee, NAACP. You have all these people that's a part of this process. And on that day that he resigned, that morning we had a surprise pop-up news conference.
Right.
And it was over 150 people on this Zoom meeting. And things were brought to the attention of the community and community leaders. Because the Prince George's County works off of transparency.
Right.
Everything's transparent, and all of a sudden we're starting to see people, they're redacting information. Like they don't want the community to see the things that the police department are saying about, i.e. the police officers or the community. So they're redacting it. They're drawing lines through the things that they're saying, and they're not unredacting it.
Okay.
And one of the big pieces is everything that we've been saying through this lawsuit is 100% spot on. We're talking about providing Department of Justice and all the ACLU and all these people over 50,000 documents showing the disparity through the department, where they're looking at it and going, now, oh wow, this is crazy.
Right. And so let me ask you, and so the elephant in the room is, I've heard you on several posts talk about $6.3 to $7 million actually allocated from Prince George's County government to defend Prince George's County Police Department with these allegations.
Right.
That's an awful lot of money to defend an entity where, for all intents and purposes, on surface, it appears as though the discrimination was running pretty rampant. If you look at some of the documents that were released, even in the redactions of some of these things, you can still look at stuff to say, wow, what is really going on in Prince George's County, where you're going to spend upwards to like $7 million to defend something that pretty much everybody knows exists, and that's that the racial tension and the discriminatory factors with gender association and all kinds of stuff going on.
Right.
So it's troubling to me now. But the chief has a superior. I always tell people, if you don't get satisfaction in leadership with your immediate person, you go to their superior.
Right.
And so the superior in this matter for the chief of police is the county administrator or county executive.
No, it's one step before that, and that's the public safety director.
And who's the public safety director?
Mark McGall.
Oh, let me understand this. So Mark McGall was the former police chief who then became public safety director, which in fact, would that have been like a promotion for him?
Absolutely.
And
he retired from the police department now, making another $300,000.
Okay, and then he is underneath, and then he's underneath the county exec.
Correct.
So Stawinski resigned abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
Where's McGall now?
He's still working.
He's still working. Correct. And McGall reports to
also
the current county executive. Okay.
Correct.
So let's deal with this elephant in the room for a minute.
Okay.
Now, the current county executive certainly cannot be, because I've listened to your post and your commentary, and I know that there's been some times you kind of ridden her really hard, and there's some validity to it, and justifiably so. Right. If she's not doing her piece and she's been elected by the people, because at this particular juncture, you're a citizen.
Of the county.
You're a citizen of the county, and so. But now I start thinking about this now. The current county executive certainly cannot be the blame for all the discrimination practices on the department unless one can agree that there's a historical dynamic that has been going on and the legacy of that leadership continues to perpetuate that stereotype. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm saying we had county execs, Wayne Carey, God rest his soul, Jack Johnson, Rashawn Baker, and now we have Angela Alsobrooks. Correct. Ironically, when we start talking about discriminatory factors and you start talking about African Americans and now Latino Americans and things of that nature, Asian Americans, whatever it is, right, those four county execs have all on surface been African Americans. Yet this propensity of discrimination has continued to manifest. This is like 20, 30 years that Prince George's County has been going through this piece. Longer than that. Yeah. And so my question to you is, what role does the county executive play in establishing change within the Prince George's County Police Department culture, with the understanding that we know that we're in a powerful movement? And I can understand she's an elected official, and she can't be all places at one time. And she has to build a different kind of trust level for the citizens as well as the people who are already in her administration. That includes McGall and on the Prince George's County Police Department. Correct. But what role does she play in establishing change within Prince George's County Police Department culture?
Well, she haven't done anything, and that's one of the biggest issues. One of the things that we did with her is when she was a state's attorney for Prince George's County, we brought all of these issues to her, and literally slam the door in your face. Hey, that has nothing to do with me. I don't want nothing to do with that. And again, it comes down to politics. Right. If she has an agenda in which place where she wants to go, she needs people to back her. And some of those people are the ones that's the complaint, are defendants in these lawsuits and things like that. So when you look at that, it's almost like, hey, I can't fight the devil. I have to go with the flow. And that's with all the county execs. Unfortunately, politics is a dirty business. Yeah. And once you get to that certain level of politics, you can't step on too many people's toes, or you're going to get ostracized, or you're going to be pushed out. And I think Angela Alsobrooks, her biggest agenda is the point to make governor. and she know if she really stepped out there and fixed this agenda, fixed this problem on the Prince George's County Police Department when it comes down to discrimination, that she's got to step on people's toes, because the same people that she's protecting with this $6.3 million so far as of April, that means at that point now she's going to expose people.
Yeah.
And those people are powerful people that can hurt her in her election for governor.
Yeah. And you know, that's a very liberal way of of looking at the context of what's going on here. You know, I think that you guys have done an outstanding job. And when I said I'm talking about the PD13 crew, of actually facilitating a platform and garnering people to actually listen to you. Look here, you know, I've been around a long time, many years. If the Department of Justice is involved in something and they take on the case for you, prior to them even saying, yes, we agree to take this on, there's been some extensive investigation going on where they're saying, we cannot close an eye to this piece because it's been brought to us, and we are supposed to be this bipartisan group of people that you know we help.
That's right.
We're about helping, not about tearing down. Right. So, how has that relationship been working with the Department of Justice in going through this piece and knowing exactly what direction you all have to go in to at least get the county exec to kind of acquiesce to, you know, she has to do something. She just can't sit still.
Right. So the Department of Justice, the way I look at them, they're like ghosts. Right. They appear when they want you to see them, and they disappear when they don't want you to see them.
Right.
And that's the way I look at them.
Okay.
But the real players in this right here is Arnold and Porter. Arnold and Porter and ACLU, the Washington Lawyers Committee. Those are your real heavy hitter people that's up front. The Department of Justice is that real quiet, laid back individuals that sit back and they just pick when they're ready and they continue. But they are 100% still a part of the case. And again, they get things subtly. But with this whole thing, the relationship between all of them working together, along with some experts that we have from the West Coast and Midwest, it's a very powerful team that we have in fighting this discrimination lawsuit. And the thing with Angela Alsobrook, the biggest thing for her is just to fix the wrongs. And you're thinking about now, as of April, $6.3 million. Right now, we're in September. Yeah. I guarantee you they're closer. And we just finished a certain part of the lawsuit where I guarantee you we had $10 million plus when it comes down to how much they have spent for this lawsuit. And if they go to the end, it's going to be probably over $20 million.
Wow.
So think about that, where
incredible.
The same thing happened in Annapolis, and the only thing they did was just fix the problem.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, you know, let me say this, because I want to bring us to some level of closure here. You know, and this is not something that you can just do all at one time. So I love to have the opportunity for the process to come back to interview you as the process through this discrimination suit continue. I would love for us to come back and have a sit down, not only with you, but as well with all of the litigants. You know, we can get their perspective as well. Prayerfully, by that time, you know, we will have some resolve and the matter will be taken care of. Some, as they say, due process will have taken this course for you. But I wanted these last couple of minutes here really talk about personally.
Sure.
You know, you talk passionate about, you know, your wife and your daughter. And, you know, I've looked at some posts and you always talk about your daughter and things of that nature. Yeah. How has your family taken on this dynamic for you? You know, being terminated wrongfully from, you know, a place that you would give your life to.
Absolutely.
You know, how have they been?
How can I put this? One of the most important pieces to me on this was my wife was there during the situation. So it's not like a story for me have to go home and have to tell her this story and she have to believe me. She saw it with her own eyes. Wow. And that was the thing that made it so important for her to be able to back me 100%. My wife have not left my side at all. My daughter to this day have no idea
Wow.
that anything had even taken place. She just think daddy has switched into a new career.
Okay.
Because my daughter's 4.06 student, and at this point now, she don't need any distractions because she loves her father. Which
That's
means,
incredible.
you know, at that point now, I don't need to distract her with anything. And I'll just tell you this last thing for this is, you know, I remember putting my uniform out every day. I was terminated already a year. Just so I can free her mind. She just think daddy want to work every day and I'm beating her home. You know, so that was a tough piece.
Man, let me tell you something, Mr. Brown. I would say the preparation and I guess I would say courage that it takes to have been put in your position and continue to push forward. Man, it's we could do a movie about this piece, and I congratulate you. The process congratulates you because you haven't stopped. You know, you created reality-based training group, so you didn't just sit on your laurels. How's that doing, right quick? In about 30 seconds, how's that doing?
It's doing good. Just imagine this: I got fired from a police officer. Now I'm training police officers.
Wow!
Think about that.
Incredible.
Incredible. So you look at the fact that, you know, again, I'm not a person to blow my own horn. When I was on the police department, I worked very hard. I went through a lot of schools. I did a lot of training. Technically over 20 years of law enforcement. So, you know, we're blessed to be here. And people that come through our training, they get in straight training. And they get in the reality of law enforcement.
Man, so in other words, if you want to give them a shout out in terms of reality-based training.
There you go, reality-based training. Hey, we right here, 8181 Professional Place, Hyattsville, Maryland. If you're looking for law enforcement, security, special police officer, DC, Maryland, Virginia, any type of weapon certifications, give us a call, 301-787-3786, or you can call the office at 240-714-3813. And we have classes every other Monday starting for DC Special Police Officer. And during COVID-19, we're also doing job placement and helping you find a job.
My man. Well, Brother Brown, thank you so much, man, for interviewing with the process. The pleasure's been ours, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Awesome.
Good luck, my man.